Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive? We're tackling Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning today.
Yeah, this one really stays with you.
It really does. This book, it just makes you think about life a bit differently, doesn't it?
It does, and it's interesting because Frankl himself, he went through some of the absolute toughest stuff imaginable.
He did.
And the fact that he found meaning even in the concentration camps.
It's incredible.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And it gives you this whole new perspective on what it means to have resilience.
Absolutely. So for our listeners who haven't yet had the chance to read Man's Search for Meaning, can you just give us a quick rundown of the core idea behind it?
Sure. So basically, Frankl, he was a psychiatrist.
Right.
He ends up in these Nazi concentration camps during World War II.
Horrific.
Truly awful stuff. And in those camps, you can't even begin to imagine the conditions.
Imagine.
People were starving, they were freezing, they were being worked to the bone.
It was just constant fear.
Exactly. But what Frankl noticed, and what forms the heart of his book, is that the prisoners who were able to find some sort of meaning in their lives, even in that darkness, those were the ones who had a better chance of surviving.
So finding meaning became this survival mechanism almost.
In a way, yes. But it wasn't just about surviving physically. It was about surviving spiritually, emotionally.
Holding on to something.
Exactly. Holding on to a piece of themselves, a reason to keep going when everything else has been stripped away.
And that's where logotherapy comes in, right?
Exactly. That's the whole core of it, yeah.
So let's unpack that a bit.
Okay, so logotherapy, it's a type of therapy.
Right.
But unlike some therapies that focus on the past, logotherapy is all about looking forward, about finding your purpose in life.
And this wasn't just something he came up with in a vacuum, right? He was seeing it firsthand in the camps.
Oh, absolutely. He gives this one example that really stuck with me. There was this prisoner who was just completely broken, ready to give up. He felt guilty for surviving when so many others hadn't.
Oh, wow.
And Frankl found out that this prisoner was a scholar. He'd been working on this manuscript, this important piece of writing.
Okay.
And Frankl, he challenged him. He said, "Your work isn't finished. You need to survive to get this work out there." And that sense of purpose, that potential contribution, it gave the man a reason to keep going.
It's amazing how powerful a shift in perspective can be.
It really is. It's like even in those dire circumstances, having something to strive for, something to look forward to, it could make all the difference. And I think that's something that is so relevant to all of us, even if we're not facing those kinds of extreme hardships.
Right, because we all face challenges, big and small.
Exactly. We all have those moments where we might feel lost or uncertain. And I think Frankl's message is that even then, we have the power to choose how we respond, to search for meaning in our experiences.
It's about finding that light, even in the darkness. So for you, what are some of the things that give your own life meaning? What gets you up in the morning?
Well, for me, it's spending time with loved ones, learning new things, and trying to make a positive impact on the world, even in small ways, like a random act of kindness. What about you? What are some of the things that bring meaning to your life?
For me, it's about those connections with people, with ideas, and honestly, just the pursuit of something that feels bigger than myself. Whether it's through work or creativity or just, being there for someone who needs it.
I love that. And, it doesn't have to be some grand, extraordinary thing. Sometimes meaning comes from just appreciating the simple things in life. A beautiful sunset, a good conversation, a moment of peace.
It's about being present. And I think that's something Frankl really emphasizes, right? That idea that even in the face of suffering, we have the freedom to choose our response, to find meaning in the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not about pretending the bad stuff isn't there. It's about finding a way to move through it and still find those sparks of light, those things that make life worth living.
So powerful. Well, this has been such a thought-provoking deep dive.
It is.
Frankl's story, it's heavy, but ultimately so incredibly hopeful. As we wrap up, I'm curious, what's one thing that our listeners can take away from this? Maybe something they can reflect on in their own lives?
That's a great question. How about this what if? Today, you tried to find just one small opportunity to bring a bit more meaning into your life. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you care about. Maybe it's doing something kind for a stranger. Or maybe it's simply taking a moment to appreciate the beauty around you. Whatever it is, let it be a small step toward living with more intention and purpose.
I love that, a small step toward a more meaningful life. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and be sure to check back next time for another. See you next time.